Hi everybody, this is a video to show you how to use the new Print Then Cut project box which I've just released, which is really aimed at people who are using the desktop version of Design Space and who are using the beta version. This is so that you can take advantage of the A3 size Print Then Cut, which you can do if you're using that beta version of the desktop software. If you don't know how to do it, if you don't know how to set up the beta version, you click on these three lines, sorry, at the top, and then you go down to settings and you application experience there, you choose beta. If you're on live, choose beta. And I think when I did it, I think it reinstalled it. I can't remember. I think it did that. So that might happen. So just make sure you've saved everything you're working on before you do that, if you do that. Right, so this is a little balloting box, as we call it, which is just a little all-in-one box, which has a square top and a square bottom and gently sloping sides and just a little lid that folds down and tucks in. So I'm going to bring in the SVG first. This is just the basic cut file, which you'll be able to use to cut any kind of box. You don't have to use it with the artwork, obviously. Alright, so as usual, the first thing to do when you bring in an SVG cut file which has score lines is you've got to convert those lines that come in as scores, which come in as cuts that actually need to be scores. And in my SVGs, they always live in that second line down in your layers panel. If there were more than one piece to this project, that would be a group of scores, but it's just one set because there's only one piece. So you just click on that second line down, go over to your operations menu and choose score from the drop down list. To do this project, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be speaking to people who are using DS, so desktop version, so I'm just going to talk about where we find things that way. So once they're converted, normally if this was a multi-part piece, you'd have to do an ungroup here, but you don't have to ungroup the scores because there's only one set. But we are going to click on this piece now, which is the coloured cut piece, and just ungroup it. And we're also going to click on the whole SVG and ungroup it. If we weren't going to use this for a print then cut, we wouldn't have to do that. But because we are, we're just going to make sure that everything's ungrouped. It's easier down the road. And just for now, I'm going to select everything. So you can either use that select all button there, or you can drag a box to enclose the whole thing, or you can use Control A on your keyboard. And I'm just going to attach it for now. This is just so that things can't move around by mistake. We don't want it to. Right, so that's the basic cut file, and if you were just going to cut a box from a sheet of A3 card, you would just go ahead and make it now. And in fact, if you were just going to cut that box from A3 card, you could make it significantly bigger than it is there. You could make it, let's just see, if we made it 29.2 is the maximum width, isn't it? Yeah, you could make that to fill nearly a whole A4. So if you're just cutting it from card and you want a slightly bigger box, do that. Make the width 29.2 and it will just about squeeze onto an A3. But we're going to use the print then cut, so we can't do it quite that big. It still is pretty big. It makes a decent sized box. Right, bring in the artwork now. And even though it's already in my library there, I'm going to bring it in from scratch so that you can see what to do with it. So I'm already at the folder, actually, Design Space has remembered. So it's this PNG here, Mother's Day Balloting Artwork number 1. This is because I'm hopefully going to release another one. Just click on it and open. It says it's a large file, it's really not that big. I always choose complex to get the best result and press continue. And then when you're on this window where you would normally clean things up, don't touch it. You don't want to get rid of anything. You need all that white because that's telling your machine where to cut. That's the shape of the box. So at this window here, just click apply and continue. Then you get the choice to bring it in as a cut, which we don't want. We want this, which is the print then cut. So select that and click upload. Ooh, it's having to think about it, isn't it? There it is in my library again. So click on it and add to canvas. PNGs always come in way bigger than they need to be. I don't know why, but they do. So we're going to take our size from this actual cut piece, which you can see up here is 25.4 centimeters wide. So we're just going to click on the artwork, make it 25.4, whoops, 4 wide, and I'm going to tab across, and it automatically adjusts the height. So it's going to be 36 centimeters high. And now I'm going to select everything on screen, and I'm going to align it centered horizontally and center it vertically. So now all the pieces are stacked exactly on top of each other. So we know the artwork's in the right place. Now I'm going to, oops, my mouse moves when I click on things. I'm going to just select that, and I'm going to send it to the back. So now we need to get rid of this yellow cut piece because we don't want it. So I'm just going to select this, and I have to detach it, don't I, because it's attached to the scores and these are the two tiny little cuts in the lid at the moment. We just want to get rid of the yellow piece, so just click on the yellow piece. You can see it's just selected it there in the layers panel, and just delete it. And so now you can see we're left with the artwork with the scores perfectly positioned, and if we zoom in down here, we've even got those useful little notches in the lid which just help it close a bit better when you tuck the lid in. Okay, so now we need to select everything again on screen, either way you want to do it, and attach the scores so that everything happens on the same mat. Right, so if we click Make It, you can see that it allows you to do this bigger print then cut. Say Continue, Send to Printer. Do add bleed because it bleeds off at the front edge of the lid here, and I always choose System Dialog because I never have the paper in the drawer that I want. So this brings up a window which will be, I don't know if it looks like this for everybody, but you'll have a window which is particular to your printer. So you'll make sure that you've selected your printer there, choose the Preferences button. I'm going to select paper tray, which means I can put it in at the back of my printer, and make sure you've got the paper size set to A3. And I'm not going to print it because, oh no, I will print it actually because I need another one for the instructions. So print OK and print. Okay, so if that had been printed now, I would be ready to do the usual thing, choose your paper, and off we'd go. But I'm not going to do, just right now for the purposes of this video. Yes, I do want to cancel. Cancel. Okay, so it's pretty simple really, and it makes a lovely little box. It's not huge. I put the dimensions, the actual dimensions of it on the Etsy listing so you can see what it is. I mean, you won't all be putting wax melts in it, but I got 8 1-ounce tubs and a snap bar in mine. But it'd hold plenty of chocolate, so it'd probably take 3 or 4 bath bombs maybe. You would be able to get a nice gift in there. Just worth mentioning that if you don't have or if you don't want to use the beta version, or if you're working on a mobile app but you want to make this box, you can of course take it down within the size of regular Print Then Cut, which is 170 by 235. You would just end up with a really cute tiny box. It does work, but you end up with a much smaller box. Again, I've made one at that size and I'll put details of that on the Etsy listing. So it's really aimed at people on the desktop using the beta version, but if you want to have a go at making a tiny cute little box, maybe as just a little keepsake thing, you can do it on the regular Print Then Cut if you reduce it down. Okay, I hope that helps. If you've got any more questions, if I've skipped anything that you need to know, don't hesitate to come back and ask me. You can contact me on Etsy or Facebook. The links to do that are in the description below. And if you've just stumbled across this video and you'd like to buy the SVG, the link to do that is also in the description. Thanks a lot. Bye.